Hi, Freeland Middle School. We are going to do something today called the percent equation. And what I have for you today is a foldable that we are going to work on together. But I want to run over or go over a few things with you before we get started. The first thing is the foldable that you're going to get is going to start off with something that looks like this. Okay. It's the percent equation. And this is related to the percent proportion, only this time we're going to put an equation form, which means we're not going to have two ratios that are equal to each other like a proportion would. We are still going to have all of the pieces. We still have a part or the is, a percent or the percent symbol number, whole or the of. Now, the only difference, which is going to make our lives a little bit easier, is that when you work through this question, we're going to use our percent in decimal form. So if you look over here at my notes, it means I'm going to take any percent I'm given. I'm going to divide it by 100 to use as a decimal. So if your problem says 42%, you're going to have 42 divided by 100 or 0.42. Let me draw a line here. The next one I'm kind of showing you is 8% or 8 divided by 100, which would be 0.08. The opposite of that would be 80% divided by 100, which is 0.8 on your calculator, but you're going to use 0.80. If you get this, it is equivalent. Okay, so this is equal to 80%. This is equal to 8%. So notice carefully where your place value is. Okay, now I wrote it up here. It still is going to contain is equals percent times the of, or part equals percent times the whole. So we're going to turn this just into a multiplication step. When you're finding the is, it'll be a division problem if you're looking for these two pieces. Okay, so you're going to follow me through a couple of examples. The first one comes right up here. So the first example I have for you guys right now is that I'm going to start off with what is 35% of 65. So here is your part, here is your percent, here is your whole. Now I started with that first step already, 35 divided by 100. So in my problem, I'm going to be using 0.35. Okay. Now what it's going to look like is this. The first step is writing my equation. Is equal to percent times the whole or the of number. So I'm going to put in the parts and pieces. I'm missing the part. I have the percent in a decimal form. I have the whole 65. I'm going to multiply those two pieces together, and I'm going to get 22.75. So this is when you're looking for the part, we're straightforward going to multiply. I would like you to pause the video, and I would like you to try this problem on your own. 40% of 60 is what number? And just to give you a little hint right off the bat, you take your percent and divide it by 100, which is 0.4 or 0.40. Okay, these are the exact same numbers. So pause the video, please, and try this problem on your own. Restart the video to find the answer. Pause now. Good. Welcome back. So if you notice, I'm starting off with the equation again. Is equals percent times of. I'm going to put in the pieces. Part equals 0.40 times 60 or percent times whole. And my answer is 24. That's the steps that we need to take to find the missing part. The second example I have for you right now is going to be if we're missing the percent. So again, part equals percent times whole. So if you notice, I don't have any division of 100 over here because I don't have a percent to make into a decimal form. Instead, I'm going to put in 50 as my part. I'm missing the percent, and I plug in 80 as a whole. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 80 because I want this number by itself. I don't want 80 of them. I only want one. And when you get to this spot right here, I don't want to give you the hint already, you're going to get 0.625 as an answer. But this is supposed to be the P for percent. This is not a percent. That's still a decimal. So what I'm going to do is do it fancy like. I'm going to multiply by 100 right now, and I'm going to get an answer of 62.5%. So in the missing percent problems, the 100 that we used in the first problems to divide, we're using in this problem to multiply to take my decimal back to a percent. So please try this one. Pause the video, take a break right now, and try this one on your own. Okay? Pause the video. Welcome back. So here is my example for you, so you guys can check your work. Start with your equation, is equals percent times of. You're going to plop in 17 is the part, 50 is the whole. We're missing the percent. Again, we want to divide by 50, just like this, to get the percent by itself. And if you look very carefully, we are going to get 0.34, but then I have to multiply it by 100 to get an answer of 34%. So for this question here, I'm looking for 34%. Now we're moving into our last question. Our last question is, what happens if I don't have the whole or the total? In this case, now if you look, I have a percent. So my first step is to divide this by 100 and get 0.45. So when I use my equation, I plug in the parts and pieces. I'm going to divide by 0.45 because that's what's with the W or the whole. So I'm going to divide both sides by a decimal, which is okay. And my answer is 180. The total number in this equation was 180. 45% of that is 81 pieces. So our answer here is 180 for the whole. I would like you to pause the video, and I would like you to attempt this problem right here. Go ahead and pause. Thank you for coming back. Again, we start with our equation, part equals percent times whole. I'm going to plug in 0.38 because I divided it right here by 100. I'm using it as a decimal. So I'm going to divide both sides by 0.38, this guy, because I want the whole all by itself. So when I divide by 0.38, I get an answer of 150. So the whole or the total number in this question is a total of 150. If you have a 38%, that would be 57 questions. So guys and gals, you now have a completed example of all three types: missing part, missing percent, missing whole, that you can use on an assessment. Good job. And then you can go back to your agenda to look for the next assignment.